Upgrades.
Hey everybody, this is Jorge, and I have the pleasure and honor right now of being able to sit down with this wonderful man, Joel Perez. And right now, I just want to first and foremost say if you aren't at Tribeca, get over there. There is going to be a short that is premiering Vida Encanto, which my man right here, Joel, was able to direct and also was one of the writers. This movie is phenomenal. I'm just gonna shoot it off there. Joel, for those of you who don't know, obviously he's been a star in a lot of shows. Um, if you don't recognize the face, I am almost 100% sure you'll recognize the voice from Has Been Hotel. He's the one and only Valentino. So for all of our audience which loves that show, you'll definitely recognize the voice if anything. Um, First and foremost, Joel, thank you so much for spending, your morning here with us because it is morning time.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's a beautiful day in New York City. Here outside. We've it's been a really busy week with the Tribeca Film Festival and getting people excited about the film. And so it's been really awesome to talk about it. And we had a screening on Monday that went incredibly well. People, it was such a great reception to the film that we've been working so hard on. So it's out in the world, which is a little scary, but also very exciting.
No, it is all excitement. And I can tell you that much. So want to kind of jump in a little bit into the film. So
Mhm.
obviously, Vida Encanto. You basically depict this really nice Puerto Rican culture and identity through this film and throughout different little things, even from for a couple seconds you kind of see this, pernil, like roast pig and everything on the table, like everything, even from the four men playing dominoes, which is something, like I remember growing up in Puerto Rico, just even though I'm not there, you can smell it. Like you can just smell the culture, you can see the culture. So wanted to kind of figure out from your point of view, kind of how was the experience like shaping your approach to making this film?
Yeah, I think what's really exciting is that Villa Encanto is based on a real community of Puerto Ricans that existed in upstate New York in the Catskills from like the 1950s to the 1980s. There was this really large, vibrant community of Latinos up there who owned and operated summer resorts. Places for people to escape New York City and go upstate and be in the mountains, kind of recreate that campo experience from Puerto Rico. And it also was a destination for musicians. It was kind of the spot to listen to mambo and salsa music. Tito Puente, Joe Cuba, El Gran Combo, all these big acts going up to Las Villas was part of the circuit of Latin music. So I stumbled upon an article about Las Villas in 2020, like during peak pandemic time. My co-writer Sol Crespo, who stars in the film as Lela, she sent me an article about Las Villas, and I was like, "What? I've never heard of this place. It's like a Puerto Rican dirty dancing. Like this is never. I didn't know that was a thing. So we then Sol and I then thought it would be a really cool setting for a story, and after a lot of conversations, settled on this sort of father-daughter relationship where music is at the center, and this daughter is being forced to step into her mother's shoes as the lead singer of the band after her mother passes. Um, and I always wanted to sort of recreate the 1960s. We had there's a really big community of people who grew up at Las Villas, and there's a big Facebook group called Las Villas of Plattekill in Ulster County, and they were an incredible resource, just sending us photos and stories about the time so that we could really get it right. We wanted to make sure that what people saw on screen felt authentic and felt like you were stepping back in time.
Well, I can say, obviously, not being around at that time, but the authenticity from just watching the film was there. And that kind of drives me, a little bit into my next question with you is, so you're multifaceted. You're not just an actor, you're a singer, you're, a writer, you're now a director. Um, how do you feel your past kind of shaped and molded how you wanted to direct and how you wanted to showcase, this film?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I feel like a lot of my writing just came out of my frustrations of the kinds of roles that I was being asked to audition for. It's like prisoner number four, drug dealer number seven. Like it was sort of which I'm happy to do. And if I get the audition, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna do a really good job and because I need a paycheck. But I also felt like um felt this like real drive to try my best to write and create stories about our community that just show different sides of us that also create incredible roles for Latin actors to want to play. I was like, why isn't there a Puerto Rican marvelous Mrs. Maisel? Why isn't there a Puerto
Yes.
Rican Mad Men? Where people are incredible suits and dresses and hair and makeup that look so like beautiful and aspirational and like yeah, because back in the day we were bien tirado. People used to
Yeah.
dress up to go places and like you see these photos of our parents and grandparents and um I felt like uh I wanted to be a part of trying to change that narrative and like bring stories like that on stage and on screen. And and so as a director too, I was sort of I felt like I had a vision for it, and I I got this opportunity to through this program Colectivo, which is a partnership with Tribeca Studios and the Miranda Family Foundation and the Hispanic Federation, where they funded three short films by Latino filmmakers, and they provided us with resources and mentorship, and so I felt like I was excited to jump in the director's seat, and it was a little terrifying to take on such a big project with music and period costumes and extras and sets and stuff. But at the end of the day, it really does take a big team to make films happen, and I feel really grateful to have assembled a really dope group of people to make the Encanto happen.
No, I think the one thing that struck me more than anything is this film made me feel like I was back home. And being Puerto Rican, like I just want to first say thank you because and you are right, there's not many films out there that highlight us, like that put us in the forefront. So for me, like just seeing this, it literally tasted like home. And like, all the little things. Like there's one scene in this that like completely broke me down. And it was near the end of it where the Teresa, ends up leaving the stage because she gets those like glimpses, almost like a flashback of her mom sitting there when she sees like the mom and kid. And she goes, sits on her bed, and you can feel the hurt. You can see it in her face and all that. And her dad comes in. And me being a father now and having a daughter, especially, if I see my baby girl crying, like I just want to hold her. I just want to like be there for her, encourage her. And the way you shot that scene, it almost shows you, like my dad is like the macho of all machos, like There's no emotion, because back then you just didn't have emotion. Like you break your leg, just put a little band-aid on it, you're fine. Like walk it off.
So
And
viva Peru, and you're
yeah,
good.
yeah, they do the little sana curita,
Yeah,
and
that's it.
magically you're good. But you see this father sit down next to her, and while you see that, like the whole time I'm just like, God, just hold her, like just break a little bit, and the camera kind of pans out a little bit, and you see like his hand just on her back for a second, and it wasn't until she started singing that you kind of get that connection, and like that father-daughter connection, and he does embrace her at that point. It's almost like we're gonna be okay. Like this is our home, like this is the new. And shots like that, it takes someone who understands the culture and who understands the backgrounds and the intricacies of Puerto Rican culture to be able to do stuff like that, to be able to understand, like most fathers back in the day like didn't have that soft spot. And now you have this man who is getting thrown into not only being the provider and you got to figure it all out, but now you also have to do the soft stuff, like the emotional stuff, like the stuff that
Yeah,
moms do, like the
yeah,
cooking, all this. And it more than anything, like this whole film was just beautiful. But that scene, like I will be the first, it broke me, man. Like just seeing that, I was just like,
yes.
I'm like, yeah, I was just like, Coño, man, just hold her, like just
Yeah,
love on her. And I think that was such a neat, such a neat aspect that you were able to capture. And I think
thank you.
obviously with music playing a big part of this, I kind of wanted to ask in terms of the actors, themselves, how was it with them kind of embodying those personas that you were trying to fill, like those characters? Because
Yeah,
you have Pablo and you have Teresa, and you kind of see that, you know, not tension, because that's probably not the best word, but you see that back and forth of just trying to figure out what the next move is.
mm,
And I know with Josh and Adriana, like they did such a beautiful job in it. And I just want to know, like, what type of direction were you giving them to kind of encompass your vision?
yeah. I mean, first of all, Josh and Adriana did such a beautiful job, and they were so down and brought their whole selves into it. A big thing that we always had to keep in mind, or I was always reminding them of, was that this film was set in 1963, and there is a kind of generosity that men have now that they didn't have back then. Uh, Josh himself is a dad, and he's got three kids, and he's so sweet. So like he's such a loving guy, and so it was a lot of me being like, I know you want to hug her, but you can't. Like Pablo is the kind of guy who doesn't know. He doesn't have that emotional intelligence to reach out to his daughter in that way.
Yeah.
And Teresa too, she's struggling with being forced to grow up and being forced to work, to be an adult after her mother dies. She also wants to just be um, held and be mothered in a way that it can't happen anymore, and she's seeking that from her dad. And I think it's such a beautiful moment in the film when Teresa sort of realizes that her dad is hurting too,
Yeah.
and that he doesn't have the words to say. He's struggling to connect with her because his wife was the one who was the soft one, who was the sort of mediator, and so she has to sort of find a way to connect with him, and it's through music. Even though they don't have the words to say to each other, when they sing, when they harmonize, like that's when they know that they understand each other. And so like that that was a really a fun a fun thread to always be aware of as we were on set. And like because we have and what's fun about filmmaking too is that you get to try it a bunch of different ways, and you we did takes where Pablo was a lot more open and receptive and more connected with Teresa. We did takes where he was super closed off and not not connecting with her. And so finding that happy medium was something we found in editing, seeing all the material that we had, and we could sort of craft that performance. Because for me, it was always really important that this film is, it's about music, culture, the period or whatever, but it at its core, it's about grief. It's about a father and daughter dealing with the fact that this matriarch is gone and now they're having to start a new life together.
Mhm.
And so that was always like our North Star was like, it's about Pablo and Teresa finding a way to connect and find this new definition of home.
Mm.
Uh, they were so beautiful. I mean, yeah, it was. It's also like as a director, it's always really nice when you've got great actors because
It makes
it's like nice. You're making my job so much easier.
No, that's awesome. And this is, one of these because one of the things that I love doing with film festivals, more than anything is doing a lot of shorts. Because I think
Hmm.
shorts it really pushes people to tell a story in a short amount of time and to kind of see how much they can get out of it. And I always judge a short if on how successful it is if I want more and I want to understand more and I want to like just dive deeper into this story, into these characters. And that's something that you've accomplished. And at first, I just want to more than anything just say
Thank
like
you.
this is one of those that and you mentioned in the beginning like a Puerto Rican like Miss Maisel or something like I would love to see a TV series of this, even a movie or something, just trying to dig a little bit
Oh,
deeper into these characters and into this world because it was that compelling and it sucked you in that much, from the get-go. Because like for me, I want to know what that relationship was, with Pablo and his wife. I want to know what it was with Teresa and her mother. And I want to know like what's it like afterwards and where they end up
yeah.
going because you kind of get this little glimpse of time, and I want the whole story. Like I want to know more and it's
Well,
something.
it's really funny you say that because Sol and I originally wrote the Encanto as a TV show, like as a pilot for a TV show. And so when I got this opportunity with Colectivo to submit a project for funding for short films, I hit up Sola and I was like, let's adapt that pilot into a short, and see if that's a way that we can at least get the story out there. Because we were sharing the pilot with folks and getting a lot of good feedback, but a lot of people had trouble. A lot of, you know, white people were having trouble like it's 1960s, the music, like they couldn't really understand it, like
Yeah.
they couldn't get it. And so I'm really hoping that now with this short film, we can at least be like, I hope a really strong proof of concept that then you could be like, hey, now here's the pilot, let us make a TV show.
No, and I think
Yeah,
I think this is one of those shows that a could put us, in the limelight and in the front, A- a- and it's weird saying because you see all these sitcoms and all this and you really don't see a lot of strong, you know, Puerto Rican actors up in front, and telling
mhm,
our story. It is kind of like what you mentioned in the beginning, like drug dealer number five, or like
yeah,
random, like you're gonna be a thug in this film. It's like, oh, gee, I didn't see that coming. Thanks.
yeah,
Um, and I think something like this could truly blow up. And I think timing is always everything, and I'm a firm believer of that. And I think with a lot of people who really never cared about Puerto Rican culture, thanks to certain artists, you have Bad Bunny now doing this world tour and all this stuff,
yeah,
bringing a lot of light to it. Like I know his latest album, I've had friends of mine come up to me asking me like, what's this Hawaii song about? Like, can you explain it? And it's trying to explain like, hey, this is what's going on now today in Puerto Rico, and all that. And
yeah.
it's little things like that where you have this kind of motivation and this downhill push where I hope people see this and I hope it gets the attention it deserves because it's a phenomenal story, and
Thank you.
it's definitely something that I would love to
It's
just.
also, I mean, it's also an American story. Like these are Americans. Like this is the history of our nation. You know, it's like this isn't some like what I'm always struck with is that people are like, there are Puerto Ricans in the Catskills, like there were Puerto Ricans of like in New York State. I'm like, yeah, they've been there and we've been there and they've created community and they've existed for a long time. And so I and I also feel like music is such a good like um touchstone for people who might not who if you're even if you're not Puerto Rican, I think you can still connect with the music and the story of just a father and daughter. Like at its core, it's just about family and their Puerto Ricanness is isn't a barrier to for people who aren't a part of the community to understand where they're coming
Yep, it's
from.
almost
It's
like,
so
yeah, it's just like it's like a different outfit change,
yeah,
you're just
yeah.
wearing a different outfit. But no, it's oh, that's exciting to hear. I really hope that this, does get the push that it needs and all that. Um, I know, obviously I could talk with you for this feels like literally like if I'm just grabbing some, like a little bit of coffee with like a good old friend. But I definitely want to give a few minutes here just kind of to shout out anything that you're obviously this film, but if there's anything else that you want to, like discuss, throw out there, let the
Yeah.
people know. We'd love to hear, what's going on in your life.
I mean, to speak more about the Encanto, though, I think like a big part of the film is the music, and that was we made some original songs with Jaime Lozano, who's an incredible composer. And when I was developing the short, we were going to try to use like pop songs from the 60s and 50s and 60s. But it's incredibly expensive to license music for movies. And so I think my producer Elena, she brought up like, well, what if we did original songs? And I was like, oh, I hadn't really thought about that. And so it was really incredible to collaborate with Jaime, who's this incredible Mexican composer, musical theater composer, who I'd worked with as a singer on in projects, and he was such a great collaborator to bring that time to life, and for people to, a lot of people walk away from the film being like, oh yeah, I remember my grandmother used to listen to that song, and I'm like, I don't think she did because that's an original song. But it's nice to know that it feels really authentic. It feels like real to the era, um, and so that's a big part of why what I'm excited about too. That hopefully the show hopefully can become have another life as a series or a TV show. It's also about like hiring more Latin people in front of and behind the camera. Our whole crew, all of our department heads, our cinematographer, our production designer, our costume designer, our editor, our producer, like so many people, our script supervisor, all Latinos, like everyone bringing their A game,
That's
and it's not for lack of talent, it's just for lack of opportunities that people don't get a chance to really throw themselves into projects like this. And so that was just like such an incredible part of being on set was that it was so nice to feel like we were all family. It felt like a family. It felt like I remember our costume designer, she's Puerto Rican and was just and she grew up in Queens, and her mom and her aunts used to go to Las Villas when they were little girls.
Oh wow.
And so for them it was like, and some of those folks came on set to be our extras. And so for that, it was like, wow, it's so rare that you're asked to um, like really like represent your community in that way. So that was really special. And I hope, I just want to keep doing stuff like this. I just want to keep making, writing and directing and creating stories about us that just, you know, show us in a really beautiful light and make people excited to do more and not feel like it's such a risk. I feel like now it feels like everyone thinks it's like a risk to tell Latin stories, or like, will this have broad appeal? Like, will audiences feel like they can connect with it? And I'm like, yeah, because I think it's just a human story. It's just a
Yeah.
it's just a story about family. And if you have a family, if you've ever been in a family, if you've ever had a family, you'll connect with this regardless of where you're from.
It's like you'll be able to relate one
Mhm.
way or the other to
Yeah, 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 totally. But I'm still, yeah, I love it. It's been really fun to step in the director seat. I'm still out here being an actor and writer in other capacities. I do a bunch of like um I voiced a character on Has Been Hotel
it.
and on Amazon, which is such a dream come true. I've always wanted to work in animation. Like it's very much like if little boy Joel knew that he was like on a cartoon voicing a character, he'd be like ecstatic. So um yeah, I just want to keep doing more of that. Even I have some ideas even in animation. I have like a independent animated pilot that I'm gonna get made and
Oh, wow.
um hopefully keep your eyes peeled.
That
Uh yeah.
that is amazing. No, that's awesome. Oh, I love it, man. No, I wish you nothing but success, man. I think
Thank you, Ray.
this has definitely been a treat. I know our audience is they're gonna love this film, and all that. So no, Joel, I
Yeah,
just
we're gonna keep we'll keep doing the festival circuit with the film, and then hopefully it'll have some sort of distribution so people can watch it at home,
that would yeah,
whether
that
that's
would
on
be
a streamer or whatever. Like, but so keep just stay patient. Don't worry, you will be able to see it. But also, if you see it at a film festival near you, like check it out, get tickets, show up, say hi. Um, I'm really excited to finally get it in front of audiences.
no, that's awesome, man. We're super stoked about it and yeah, man. I'm more than anything, I'm proud of all the work you've done and the work you're doing. And just obviously putting our culture up front, man. Like that's a huge, like huge blessing. Because I love being able
Always,
to show,
always.
it's like being able to show my kids, like, look, this is, this is your history, like this is your culture.
Yeah.
So, Joel, man, thank you once again. Really appreciate it.
Thank
Um,
you.